How can God use short-term mission trips to teach us more about His character? Hear what we learn about God through short-term missions to Australia in this video.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen.
And my name is Alisa.
From Captivated by Him. On this channel, we share about how we can grow in being more captivated by God by loving and knowing Him more. And one way that God has allowed us to know Him more recently is through our church sending a short-term mission team to Australia.
Yes, it was super neat to see God's sovereignty in allowing a team of our brothers and sisters to travel across the world to partner with and serve the local church over there. In today's video, we'll get to share about what we learned from this mission trip, with Jen getting to travel to Australia and me being a sender from home in San Diego. If you're excited to hear about God's work in Australia, please give this video a like and also subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss out on future videos.
In one of our previous videos, we got to share about a mission trip that our church went on to Lyon, France. So if you haven't watched that video already, then we'll link it in the description box down below. We talked about Matthew 28, 18 to 20, which is known as the Great Commission. And that passage tells us that as Christians, we are to share the gospel with those around us. So no matter where we may go on a mission trip, whether to France or Australia, and even in our local communities that God has placed us in at home, we are to be thinking about how we can share the hope of Christ and make disciples.
That reminds me of a passage in Romans 10, 14 to 15, where Paul writes, "How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? How will they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? How will they preach unless they are sent? Just as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things." We are called to share the gospel with those around us, because if we don't, how will the unbelievers around us be able to know and believe in Christ?
That is a good point, Alisa. And that's why short-term mission trips are a special opportunity given by God to share the gospel and build up other churches that are seeking to share the gospel with those in their local communities. On this trip, our team went to Melbourne, Australia, and put on a women's conference for their church. And throughout the week, we were able to spend time with the church members, trying to get to know them and their needs and encourage them. Part of our group also went out to do street evangelism during the week. But the main thrust of why we were there was to teach about emotions for the women's conference. One of our mission team leaders, who is actually Alisa's husband, was able to also preach to their church for Sunday service.
Wow, that's really neat to hear about all the things that you were able to do over there together as a team on this missions trip, and also how full of a week you guys spent to serve the Lord. What are some things that you learned about Christians in Australia during your time there, and how were you encouraged by the members of the church?
Yeah, while we were in Australia, a few members of the church there explained to us that biblical Christianity is pretty sparse there. Most professing Christians in Australia are either charismatic or Catholic. And they were really encouraged to see that our church had biblical preaching, and even more excited to see how many women's teachers we had. They told us that sound teaching is already rare in Australia, but good women's teachers are pretty much impossible to find there. So we can definitely be praying for them in that way. But it was super fun being encouraged by the church's hunger for good teaching. And there were even women outside of that church who drove for over an hour and stayed overnight in a hotel because they were so excited to attend a women's conference with good biblical teaching for the first time. And that made me think, wow, we here can really take for granted what we have and the good teaching that we always sit under. But we should always be like these women who are so hungry to know more about God.
That's really neat to hear about the woman who had such a hunger for God's word. And it's encouraging to know that the believers over there were able to bond over the unity that we share in Christ. And we can build up each other and encourage other Christians all around the world by doing the same. So what's something that you learned about God on this trip, Jen?
Something that stood out to me was the worthiness of God and how good it is to be able to do His work. In one of my favorite messages on the trip, our sister Joanna shared about how if we're in awe of God's holiness, that ought to lead us to prostrate ourselves before Him in worship and give up all of our time, effort, and strength to His work. It's that picture of Isaiah in the throne room in the book of Isaiah 6, when he sees God and sees that he himself is unworthy, and then he volunteers himself and says, "Send me," because of his awe of God. And I really experienced that on this trip, that it's a blessing and a privilege to expend myself for him, to use my gifts for his glory. And it's impactful when we make sacrifices to do that, despite it not being easy.
Thanks for sharing that, Jen. Our God is amazing, and it's encouraging for us to hear how you were able to learn more about God and see his character while on this trip. I didn't get to travel on the trip to Australia, but my husband did, and he got to lead the team. So it was fun to be able to be a sender and support the team from home. So while staying home, I also got to think about how worthy God is and his preeminence. And so I really wanted my husband to be pleasing to God by having an undivided attention on this trip. With that in mind, though I missed him a lot, I made it a point to not pester my husband too much with all these questions and all these messages. I knew he had a lot on his mind to keep track of, and the best way for me to honor God as preeminent and worthy would be through supporting my husband's efforts to be primarily focused on the team. So instead of constantly asking for live updates, I wanted to proactively pray for the things that were on their itinerary and think about the details so that I can pray for Brian to have wisdom in leading the team. And then that way I can be aiming my desires to be about God's preeminence and not about what I want and how much I want to talk to my husband all the time.
Well, the team definitely felt your support from home, Alisa. And even if you aren't able to go on a short-term mission trip, you can pray for mission teams your local church may send abroad, as well as for missionaries around the world as they seek to share the gospel and make disciples of Christ.
I'm looking forward to seeing how God will continue to use the work that the team did to glorify him in Australia. We hope this video was encouraging to you, and until next time,
Stay captivated.